All right, gentlemen, welcome back to the next and third and final installment from this year's National Football League draft with the SMC video podcast from our living rooms, right? Since everything has happened from people's living rooms over the past few days. So I've got with me the guys from last week. We hooked up and decided to do one more broadcast just to put everything together, tie a nice little bow on everything. Okay, we had a nice draft, a long, Kai. It was long. First night of the draft, where we were going to do 10 picks. Then we decided to hang out till the 21st pick and got to see the depression that was Kyle Mechlin. And then we hung on for the entire evening, 4 hours and 17 minutes later. Tonight, we're not doing that to you. Okay, we're not doing that to ourselves either. Tonight, on the other hand, is going to be a rather short evening with some questions, some specific questions for each of our individuals here tonight. Gentlemen, how are you this evening?
Good.
Never been
Doing
better.
great.
Never been better. Kai, yourself?
Doing great.
So everybody's great, never been better. Sounds like super positive stuff. As you can see, I have my virtual background tonight. Not going to go over to the seat I was in last time. Why? Because, well, it's just easier. It was a little bit more difficult to do it that way. But so first things first, did y'all have a good weekend? Did you watch the draft? I know, Kyle, Clay, you said that you watched all of it?
Just about all of it. Maybe not the seventh round, but pretty much through the sixth round, I watched it.
Interesting. Kyle, did you watch any more of it, or did you stop at the Eagles?
I need a little break to gather my thoughts, so I didn't follow it too close. But I've been reading up and looking over picks and stuff like that, so I'm still up to date a little bit.
Okay, all right. Kai, what about yourself? Did you watch any more of it?
Well, I mean, I kept up on Twitter, but that 4 hours and 17 minutes was it's kind of rough.
It was brutal, but at the same time, it was a lot of fun. Taka, what about you?
I mainly just paid attention to what the Colts did and just what was on the big news on social media.
I don't know what the big news on social media was.
It's just
So you
like-
followed breaking moves.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sounds like a plan. All right, gentlemen. So we're going to dive into some questions here. We've got some specific questions on tap for you. So first things first, okay? You got to give it to me. Give me your opinion on the draft this year. All the elements of it, right? Not just the picks, but also the style it was done, the virtual style, and even, the time frame. 4 hours for the opening night, 4.5 hours for opening night, right? And how about some of the homes that were there? Let's start with Taco, and tell me what you think. How would you rate the draft this year with the style that they did it?
I would say it was 8 out of 10. The first round, like we said, took forever. My conspiracy theory is that they did have some technical problems. They just didn't want to tell us. That's why they would say the pick is in, then 5 minutes later they were still talking before they would even announce it. But overall, it's pretty good. Other than the WNBA draft, is our other first live sporting event in what felt like forever. So really, the only thing people could do if they want some live sports, that's why the viewership was the most it's ever been. And I love being able. I was skeptical at first because I thought seeing people at their homes and it wouldn't be as good not getting that live interaction with fans. But I actually kind of enjoyed it. You got to see more relaxed side. Like you said, you got to see some crazy homes that are bigger than my house and my dad's house and my mom's house all in one. And then just overall, I think it was really good. I think we're about to see a change in how they're going to do the draft. I think I read earlier that they're going to try to do more in-home stuff for picks in the next few years. So overall, I liked it.
Kai, how about you? I'll turn it over to you.
I mean, I like the format. I mean, besides how long it took, I like the format that they had. I liked how they did the little draftathon thing on Twitter where you could live stream yourself and have a potential to be on TV. I like seeing the players' homes and the coaches' homes. I think if they just ironed a couple things out and it just wasn't as long as it was, I think it was overall went really smooth.
All right, sounds like a pretty simple answer. Mechlin, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much just gonna echo. It was pretty good. I didn't enjoy it as much as past drafts. I do still like that live aspect, but I thought they did a good enough job given the circumstances. It was fine, and I could definitely see them going closer to a style like this in the future. But for me, I don't know. I just felt like it was holding my attention a little bit less than past years have.
Except for the 21st pick.
That held my attention a lot less.
Held your attention for about 30 seconds, and then the pick was made, and you left the room. Yes, an unforgettable
More on that later, though.
An unforgettable moment in the SMC podcast, video podcast short history. Clay, tell me about it.
Yeah. I mean, they basically said it all. I mean, some of my favorite parts were just like some of the videos of like the head coaches and their staff in their house, like Bill Belichick. I mean, he had a famous one in the first round when the Patriots were drafting and he was nowhere to be found and his dog was just sitting in his seat, which is, it's just like you wouldn't see that in a normal draft because they'd be at their in their war room. And I think it was just pretty funny to see like those little things happen throughout the draft that you normally wouldn't see. And also Roger Goodell slouching in his seat. Like on the second day, he was just like, I'm tired of making draft picks and I'm just going to.
And none of us watched any of that.
I'm going to prop my leg up on the chair and, just act like I'm not actually working right now, which, like I said, you wouldn't see in a normal draft live. So
the multimillionaire that he is got the chance to relax for a moment, right?
Yep.
So my take on the whole thing was that that first night, way too long. A, B, I just first off on the way too long thing, I just thought it was, you didn't need to have 10 minutes for every pick from 15 until 32. I mean, you could have shortened that, but at the same time, it is what it is. That's just the way they do it. But I thought overall that I think it was executed well. I think that the television broadcasters did a pretty solid job on it. I think they did as best they could, whether they had some technical difficulties or not. I think they did a really good job of really making it seem like it was a smooth deal. It looked like it was taped, looked like it was live to tape to me, but some people were right. It was dark out the windows in some houses, and which makes me ask a follow-up to all of that. Okay. And Kai, I'm going to start with you. Okay. The follow-up question I have is I was told by an individual close to me that the homes weren't necessarily those of the players and their families. I was advised that they were renting Airbnbs. Anything to say about that?
I mean, it could be a possibility.
You think that's a good thing? Do you think that putting out that image is a good thing?
I mean, I don't. I think it just depends on some of the situations. I mean, honestly, some players, their houses could have been in dead zones and they maybe have not gotten a good signal there. They maybe couldn't have done interviews, and maybe some players they didn't want to show their homes. I mean, I don't know where they're from or their background and all that, but maybe some players just didn't want to show their homes and they wanted to have that Airbnb nice look on TV. So
reasonable approach. Taco, what do you think?
I think it's more that maybe they're just worried that once people figured out they were getting drafted, they would bombard them just coming down the streets in their neighborhood. Maybe they just wanted a nicer place to kind of show off a little bit for that future big paycheck. And maybe I really don't know. I didn't think about that part too much, but
I guess
works.
conveying an image, right? I mean, Clay, what do you think?
I mean, I didn't really know that, so I wasn't really thinking about it. I just figured it was, some of their houses, but I mean, some of them did look pretty empty now that you say that. Like, I don't know. But I mean, it, like Taco said, it could have been like for the safety of some of the players. I mean, when you're a first round pick and somebody potentially knows where you live, they may just, bombard you with that. So they may just move you away for a little bit and then get you out of the picture for a bit till everything winds down. But I didn't really think about it, so I don't really have an opinion on it, but I'm sure there was a reasoning behind it.
Makes sense. Mechelin, any other thoughts to add to that?
Yeah, I didn't think about it too much, but privacy definitely is a thing to worry about. Those first round players, especially if they're from small towns or areas where they're known, like you don't want people gathering outside of their house, given the current climate with coronavirus. And I mean, you just don't want them to be bombarded or anything. And also, I think, there's something to be said about having that player out in Vegas, wherever the draft is, up in a hotel and all that, and having a little bit of luxury. Like if the NFL can provide them for something like with an Airbnb and give them a little bit of that experience, I don't see anything wrong with that if the player was on board and they weren't like strong armed into it.
All great points. You gentlemen make great points. All right, so we're going to swing around the horn like we have speaker view here. All right, first question. It's the one that's the burning question that everybody wants answered. Who were your winners and losers in this year's NFL draft? We'll begin with Kyle Mechlin.
All right, so my two winners, I think that the Giants and Jags had two of the best drafts. And I'm picking the Jags personally as a hot take and one that I want to argue. Personally, the team is not even close to being competitive. But what they did is they got a couple really good project guys with a lot of really good physical traits that have potential to develop well over the next few years while they're actually building the team. Like, they don't need a player that's going to come in right now and knock it out of the park and be like a superstar, but they want that those physical specimens. So, like, I'm going to butcher this name, and I'm sorry, but Kalavan Chason, the edge out of LSU, like, he's got some scary physical traits, and he's probably not ready to go out there and tear up offensive lines yet, but like, it's a good pick. He'll be able to develop in time. CJ Henderson looks like a good prospect after moving Jalen Ramsey. Like, they're in rebuild mode. Getting a young cornerback in there with some first round pedigree is a good way to go about it. And then in the fourth, they grabbed Ben Barch, offensive tackle out of St. John's. Division II, but the dude was locked down, and he has time to develop in the pros before they put their number one guy behind him. And I feel like I went pretty long, so I don't have to go into the Giants right now. But a quick overview is just they got two great tackles, and then they got Xavier McKinney in the second, which I think are three stellar picks for their first three.
So no loser?
Oh, we're doing losers too?
Yeah, winners and losers, baby.
Okay. Titans, I don't think had a great draft. They took Isaiah Wilson, who I was like probably my least favorite tackle out of that first round. A little rough around the edges. He's a physical specimen, but I mean, they're in this weird like sort of win now mode, but also not quite win now. So I just feel like they're kind of up in the air. And Isaiah Wilson's just not someone who really stood out to me, especially with such good tackles going a little bit earlier in the draft. And then they also, in the third round, they took Darrington Evans out of Appalachian State. He's a small, fast running back, and he gives me nightmares and flashbacks to Donnell Pumphrey that the Eagles took about 2 or 3 years ago. And I don't like the pick. And lastly, they took Cole McDonald. I didn't write down what round they put him in, but he's a quarterback out of Hawaii. He's got a big arm and kind of a risky decision maker. And to me, that's not even close to Tannehill. And if you're looking to kind of build him up as a backup, then things are going to get a little funky. Also, I see 2 tacos right now. I don't know if that's just me.
I am in the same place you are with that, but that's interesting to say the least.
Oh, now there's one.
Yeah, that was odd. That was an odd appearance.
Totally
we had twin tacos here. All right, Kyle, we'll get back to you here in a minute. Kai, give me your thoughts.
All right, so we talked about it a little bit during the draft too, but one of my winners was the 49ers. They drafted, was that Kinlaw, one of the top D linemen to replace Buckner. And then you also got Brandon Ayuk, who is pretty much, in my opinion, kind of a replica of Sanders, who just left the team. And I feel like he could have a higher ceiling. He fits exactly into their play style. And then I also have for my other winner, the Broncos. They're going all in on Drew Lock. They drafted 2 O-linemen, and they gave him 2 weapons. They gave him Judy, and the other wide receiver is, I'm blanking on him. And they also drafted his college tight end too. So I feel like they really just went all in on Drew Lock to give him weapons and be successful.
KJ Hamler?
Yeah, Hamler. They drafted Hamler. So I really like the 49ers and the Broncos for my winners. And then my loser, I have the Saints. I like Cesar Ruiz. I like the pick, but I was really confused about the fit after I really looked into it. They spent a second rounder last year on a center, and Ruiz can really only play, he really wants to play center. And he doesn't really want to play guard. They don't even really have guard spots open for him. So they kind of just wasted a first round pick on a guy that's probably going to sit on the bench, which would be fine for a lot of other positions, but in my opinion, not for O-line.
All right, that's a thorough analysis. Kyle Clay, what do you think?
So I have 2 winners as well. I said it in the first, or was it draft night? The Minnesota Vikings. They ended up getting 2 first-round picks. They had Justin Jefferson with the 22nd pick. I don't think he should have really fallen that far. And then they got Jeff Gladney at number 31. They're both starters. And then they turned around in day 2 and got Ezra Cleveland, who they were also, you had like a late first round draft projection as well. And actually all 3 players that they ended up drafting were targets that they had in the first round, and they ended up getting all 3 actually. And then they had 15 total picks, which is like the most in the modern day era for the NFL draft. And I think they hit on all their needs. And then I'm gonna say it's not gonna make Kyle happy, but I think Dallas Cowboys won the draft as well. The Eagles kind of helped them in the later rounds, trading for a pick that gave them the best center in the draft, which after losing Frederick, center is helpful. But I mean, they walked away with some pretty good pieces, and I think they've had one of their better drafts to the day for them. And then my loser is the Green Bay Packers. Another year passes that they don't help Aaron Rodgers with wide receiver help, and they passed on people like Chase Claypool. They could have traded up in the first round and gotten another big wide receiver name, and then they ended up trading up in the first round anyway to get a quarterback, which I think they probably could have waited till the second or third round to do. So those are my winners and losers.
All right. Sounds great. And Taco, what you got?
Well, my winners, the Baltimore Ravens. I read that according to Mel Kiper, they drafted 5 players that were projected to go higher, but actually fell lower to them. So those were 5 steals. And then 2 of their biggest needs were inside linebacker and a receiver, and they ended up getting both of them. And this was a team that had MVP at quarterback and should have probably either made the AFC Championship or Super Bowl. They just got upset by who was that? Who they lose to in the playoffs? That Tennessee or I can't think who they lost to, but I can't remember. But anyway, they're pretty much a team that's already stacked, team that can easily win the Super Bowl next year. They just had small few needs they had, and they got them. And then, my loser, like Kyle said, is the Packers. And they were another good team that was just a win away from going to Super Bowl. All they needed was a decent receiver to catch a ball for Aaron Rodgers. And they didn't draft any receivers at all in a really deep wide receiver class. Instead, they drafted up to get a quarterback, which now is going to cause some drama. The new Aaron Rodgers to Brett Favre back in the day, and Brett Favre wasn't happy about that. So because he's a similar situation, they could be pushing Aaron Rodgers out. So it could cause some drama.
Interesting. That's an interesting take. I like that. All right. So, anyone you think is the surprise of this year's draft? Kyle Clay.
I'm gonna have to go with Jalen Hurts. That pick was just a surprise pick. I wasn't expecting the Eagles to really draft a quarterback this year. I mean, I guess after looking at it, it might help them down the long run. And
anyone else want to comment on that?
Is that
Yeah.
I think that both of the Eagles' first round picks were total surprises, but maybe I've just been drinking the Kool-Aid, but they've grown on me since I heard the news. It doesn't look like Rager had a great combine. I've seen clips where he was clocked at like 22.6 miles per hour in a college game. And so the dude's bringing speed. Sorry, I know I jumped off Jalen Hurts, but I'll get around to it just because as an Eagles fan, I feel like.
Well, the comment was meant to be on Jalen Hurts and the situation that Kyle Clay just brought up.
Okay, I'll come back to it then. Jalen Hurts, definitely not what I was expecting at all. Obviously, we just extended Carson Wentz. So at first, to me, the pick was like, well, we either made a mistake drafting Hurts or made a mistake drafting or extending Wentz's contract. But the way I see it is Hurts has shown that he is a good presence in the locker room. He's not going to start drama over starting or not. I think he is a stellar guy to have learning behind Wentz. I hate the narrative that Wentz is injury prone. So I'm not saying that like we need a good backup quarterback, but like in this league, you need a good backup quarterback. And Sudfeld has been decent, not great. And we drafted like some guy named, sorry, there's a car outside that's really loud. Like Thorson last year didn't pan out at all. Like you need a good backup, and a second rounder, while it would have been nice to get like something that would have immediately helped, this is a good insurance policy.
Kyle Clay decided to step away for a moment.
I was just seeing what noise it was. It was just
So
an
what?
odd sound.
Expand on your reasoning, Kyle. Why was that the surprise?
I just feel like they had bigger holes to fill it. in the second round than to draft a quarterback. And I read reports today that they're going to use him potentially as a running back as well. And I'm just like, it's like that. Are they trying to get their Taysom Hill? That's not going to be Taysom Hill, because I don't think any player can replicate what Taysom Hill does for the Saints. But I mean, my biggest question was just I think they had bigger needs that they could have filled with that second round pick. And you saw how far quarterbacks like Fromm and Eason fell in the draft anyway. So there would have been quarterbacks there for them to take if they would have waited a little longer. So it was just a little confusing as to why they took him there. But like Kyle said, I guess you need a good backup quarterback in the league. But then after the draft, they went out and signed another quarterback, and then they just signed Sudfeld to a 1-year contract. So they went from 2 quarterbacks to 4 quarterbacks and
an injury-prone Carson Wentz.
It was just a confusing pick to me when I think they could have used that pick to fill a bigger hole on their roster.
Kai, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with Kyle. If they're trying to find their next Taysom Hill,
Jalen was the biggest surprise to you?
Yeah. Hurts was by far my biggest surprise, just because, if you're trying to find your Taysom Hill, you don't, in my opinion, you don't spend a second rounder on a backup quarterback that you're not grooming to be a starter. Wentz is only 27. They've obviously extended him,
and he's injury prone according to the narrative.
Yeah, I mean, but you don't spend a second rounder on that. They're saying, oh well, we might play him at running back or receiver, or maybe be that gadget guy. But I still feel like with those gadget guys, you don't draft them in the second round. I feel like there was bigger needs that needed to be filled. I like Hurts, but I kind of feel bad for him in the situation, because I don't see him getting consistent playing time for a while.
Taco, what about you?
I think, well, like I said, for my loser pick, Jordan Love to the Packers. I already explained that. Just doesn't make sense. I think they're causing some drama, and they could be pushing Aaron Rodgers out soon. And also for my Colts team, drafting Jonathan Taylor, running back in second round.
I got a couple of group me private message on that saying, what do you think of that? And honestly, I thought that was a good move.
I think it's, I'm kind of torn in between it. I get it. He's a really good running back, and he can catch out of the backfield and maybe line up as a slot receiver. But when you already have Mack and Himes and Wilkins, you already have 3 running backs. Unless something's going to happen.
Maybe they're not gonna.
Maybe. That's just
maybe
one
somebody's on the block.
That's just one where I'm kind of like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, I don't get it. It's tearing my mind up.
Mashlin, did you agree with Clay on that one? Hurts was your surprise?
Yeah, it was a surprise. It was a big surprise, but I don't know. I don't necessarily think that, it's expensive for a backup, but we also, I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but we were able to trade Bradford for a first after we drafted Wentz. Quarterbacks are always a hot commodity, and I think Hurts is a really quality player and quality presence in the locker room. And however it plays out, I'm not too mad about it. And I think that the way that we drafted for the rest of the draft made up for it. I think we had some really good picks late in the game that's going to help our team out a lot.
I hope Kyle, Clay, you are tracking the chat live on YouTube, because it looks like it's rolling right now.
I am. One of the most recent ones, since we're on the Hurts topic, Bailey Pfeiffer says, do you think Hurts will be the next Denard Robinson from Michigan?
Oh boy. That's a statement right there.
And then Nick Solomon said he can throw better than Shoelace Robinson. So,
well, I will tell you my surprise, and I will make no bones about it. It was Isaiah Simmons at the 8 with the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah. I thought that was dumb. I thought that they should have gone with an offensive lineman. It doesn't matter which offensive lineman. I didn't care. I thought they should have gone to the front because they got Kyler Murray, Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2019. And I would hope that they want to protect him. But at the same time, Isaiah Simmons, freak athlete, could be their superstar on defense. But what would you rather have, one superstar on defense or a star quarterback that's protected and not running for his life? So, yes, Kyler Murray can run, but at what point is that going to end? Because it's the NFL. It's a different game, baby. And if you don't have protection, what's going to happen? You're going to eat turf. Right. So hopefully they were smart in their planning. And I just thought that was a bad move to take the number 8 pick, Isaiah Simmons, to Arizona. All right. How about the steal? What was the steal of this year's draft? Let's start with Kai.
All right. I think it was Michelin that said Jags had one of the best drafts, and I feel like one of the reasons why is because they drafted Laviska Shenault. I feel like this guy was graded as a first-round receiver, and I think he just had surgery, or he revealed that he had an injury that really dropped him. I mean, this guy can be a 1 or number 2 option, and I think that was huge for him. I think he went in the third, maybe late second. So I like that one. I had one more here in my notes. I could see. Oh, and I really like Delpit too. I know he dropped in a lot of mock drafts, but I still feel like he went. I think he went number 44 to the Browns. Really good pick to me, first round safety. So
Taco, you.
I want to stay with my Colts team and go Michael Pittman Jr. He's a first round.
You know what? I'm going to agree with you on that because I thought Pittman should have gone earlier than he did.
I think he was 100% a first round talented receiver that the Colts got early second round, and he's a really big receiver that the Colts haven't had since Reggie Wayne or back in those days with the late Manning and early Luck days. And a 6'4", he's big, strong, and Philip Rivers loves to just throw the ball up and let a receiver catch it, which I think he's gonna fit in real well real soon.
Bailey Pfeiffer, sorry to interrupt, Michael, but
Okay.
Bailey Pfeiffer, Kyle, this one is below the belt to you, Mechelin. Bailey Pfeiffer said Justin Jefferson at 22. Should have and could have been the Eagles, right?
I don't think that's a steal.
yeah,
I thought it was because
And
the Eagles could have taken him. They should have.
they-
I thought they should have taken him.
They could have, and maybe they should have. But are we going on to this topic right now? Because I'll get into it.
Sure.
I
Take
think
it where
that-
you want to take it, bro.
I think Jefferson is a great wide receiver, and I would have been happy to have him. But at the end of the day, year or like season after season, I think like 3 seasons in a row, the Eagles have brought in a bandage, old, deep threat wide receiver. Jackson played 1 game, went out. Mike Wallace played like 1 or 2 games, went out. And we need that deep threat. Like Wentz has the arm to throw it deep, but we just haven't consistently had the weapon to take the top off of the defense. And when you have a guy like Ertz and Goddard that can tear it up over the middle, getting someone to stretch the field is going to do a lot more for your offense than a more like Jefferson's great, but he doesn't have that same speed that Rager's bringing to the table. And that's why I personally like the pick, even though it was surprising.
Eminian threw in a nice little comment here. Cowboys getting Lamb. He calls it the heist of the draft.
Yeah,
Thoughts?
I definitely agree with him. I was very surprised that Lamb fell right into the Cowboys' lap, and that gives Prescott an insane weapon.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. And Nick Solomon says Bryce Hall to the Jets in the 5th round is a 2nd round graded corner.
I was actually going to say he was my steal of the draft.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he had an ankle injury that pushed him back, and I mean, he was graded as a late 1st, early 2nd round pick before at the beginning of last season. And I mean, I remember watching him because he played at Bishop McDevitt, which was 20 minutes from where I live, and I saw his high school talent. And then he went to Virginia. I saw him play at Notre Dame for Virginia, and I just think he's really good. And I think that ankle injury really, I think teams had concern about it, but I think falling the whole way to the 5th round as a 2nd round projection, late 1st round projection is a big steal. He might not be a perfect scheme fit for the Jets, but he was just too big of a talent to pass up in the 5th round.
Bechlin, what about you? The only
For
one that not to
steal?
chime in. Yep.
Okay, so this isn't really purely a steal. I thought Xavier McKinney was a 1st round talent and should have gone. I think the dude's a stud and he's going to develop to be one hell of a safety. And Giants getting him at 36 and still being able to get Andrew Thomas in the 1st round and not having to trade back to get a player like McKinney and have another pick. I thought McKinney was great. Homer pick, Kevon Wallace at pick 127 for the Eagles. The dude is a fiery safety. He's already made a huge presence on social media. I saw him commenting on every single pick announcement after he was taken that the Eagles made. I think he's going to bring a really good presence physically after we lost Jenkins in the safety spot or the slot corner because Jenkins kind of did it all.
I'm gonna add on to something here.
Pile on, baby.
I think another steal. I don't think it's technically a steal, but I think the Steelers getting Chase Claypool as far as he fell back, I think is for an outside wide receiver for the Steelers who don't have much height at wide receiver to begin with, and a lot of people were passing up on him. I think he's going to be a much better wide receiver than what people are thinking, and I mean, I am a Notre Dame fan, but it's no bias. I just think he's actually got some stellar NFL talent, and I think he's gonna be a shock to some people when he actually gets on the field for the Steelers, because he's got the talent, and I think he's gonna really help Ben Roethlisberger.
I'm actually going to agree with Taco for once, Michael. I agree with you. I think Pittman. I thought he should have gone earlier. I thought he could have. Honestly, he would have been a good pick for the Eagles. I thought that he could have. He was, PFF ranked him at 22 on the big board, and he went 34. So I mean, it wasn't too far off, but at the same time, that's 12 picks. That's an entire round. That's a couple $1 million. And I thought that maybe I thought he showed a lot, and I remember hearing a lot about him. You didn't see much. I think what was he, Pac-12, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't see he was USC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't see much Pac-12, but you saw a lot of Pittman on highlights. You didn't see a lot of the Pac-12 games, but you saw that he was making moves and scoring as much as he could for USC at the time. But he went to the Colts, and the Colts, they need a whole lot more than receivers, that's for sure. But in reality, I think that's pretty good. I thought there was a pretty good steal.
I think some of the uncertainty for him was his up and down game logs in college. One game he had like 200 yards, and then for 4 consecutive games after that, he had less than 100 yards. And I think there was just a lot of inconsistency that kind of, scared teams away from picking him in the first round, which is why I think you saw him fall right outside the first round. I mean, he probably is a first round talent, but I think there was just a lot of inconsistency that worried teams to take him in the first round.
Yet the game log for the Eagles' first round draft pick was much more inconsistent.
But yeah, I mean, obviously,
yeah.
Yeah,
play was terrible.
But they also
there you go. I knew it was coming. I knew you as an Eagles fan would say quarterback play, right?
Yeah, I mean, TCU arguably had one of the worst quarterbacks in Division I football last year.
I was waiting for it.
Didn't really help that, but USC, had their starter went down one of their first games, but I mean, had a stellar backup come in, and I mean, you could still see the inconsistency. I mean, you double team Michael Pittman, he's probably not going to do much for you guys, and that's what college teams did. And I think the NFL is going to catch on to it, and I think he's just going to be your moderate, wide receiver. He's not going to be anything.
We don't need to be a super big receiver. He's just going to be a big receiver we can throw towards that goal line or just for a deep ball. And that's why there's TY. That's why we have all our receivers have to pro level game. So if he doesn't step up, just give me the amount of yards needed to win. I don't care if you get 100 yards. I don't care if you get 50. As long as Colts win, he's doing something good. I'm happy.
Off the subject for a moment, another good question posed by Bailey, and I'm going to target Taco for this one. Good question posed by Bailey. Do you think Mac will be on his way to a team like Tampa that's in win now mode?
I could see that happen. I don't think it'll happen this year. I think Mac and the Colts have something good going. I think he's proved that he's the number one option here for us at running back, but he is injury prone and he'll be out a few games each year just because he gets banged up. But I don't know. I hope he stays. He's really good, but running backs, you can pretty much pick up anyone as long as you have a good offensive line. They can hit. The hole's this big, whatever. I could run through it, and I am not talented at all. So, I mean, I really don't. If he wants to go, that's fine, but I hope he stays.
What about you, Kai? What do you think? It's a pretty good question.
I honestly feel like they would trade Hines before they trade Mac. I just feel like that's just in my opinion. I feel like Mac is the Colts guy. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really a huge Colts fan. I'm a Bears guy, but from the games that I did see, I did have Mac in fantasy, and he was a beast. So I feel like they would have no reason to trade him. So if they were gonna get rid of the quarterback, I'd see Hines probably being shipped out.
Mashlin, what about you? Got an opinion on that question?
I mean, I'm honestly not familiar enough with the whole Colts running back situation. I did also have Mac in fantasy though last year, and I did enjoy having him in fantasy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. It's who does Tampa have right now at running back?
That's a good question.
If you have Ron Jones, some guy.
Yeah.
Ronald
Yeah.
Jones, and then they just drafted a guy to catch balls out the backfield. Forgot what his name was though, but
Yeah,
I'm
I
pretty
mean, I
sure
don't know.
their running back depth is pretty.
Ronald Jones the second. They've
yeah,
got Keyshawn Vaughn there. They've got Dare Agunbawale, TJ
ju-
Logan, Aka Cedric Ware, it looks like, and
yeah.
Raymond Calise or something like
'Cause
that.
don't they have a Goombawale too?
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
Dare Agunbawale.
Yeah.
I think that's how you say his name. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I always worry about pronunciations. So
No, I mean, I think Mac's gone after this year.
wow, big statement.
Especially after drafting Jonathan Taylor. I think you kind of are seeing the Colts. They kind of want that younger guy. I don't think Jonathan Taylor's a backup running back. He may be for this year just because of Mac, but I think you're kind of seeing them trying to phase out Mac at the end of this year, especially after when his contract's done after this year, which
Solid statement by Bailey with Mac being a contract year and Hines having one more.
yeah. So you
That's
could go Taylor
yeah.
and Hines after this year and let Mac walk and save the money.
I really like Taylor.
I'd be
Like I was
totally fine with
surprised
that.
seeing people not liking that pick. I really like Jonathan Taylor. I feel like he's
Yep.
gonna be huge for the Colts.
Yep, I
I
thought
think
he was a good pick.
I think people didn't really think about it at that time just because of having Hines and
Mac.
Mac, and they're
Yep.
just thinking, why are we wasting a pick on a running back when we have two decently young guys anyway? But I think people need to realize that Mac is on his contract year, and most likely he's not going to be a Colt after this year, especially with that pick now.
All right, so I'm going to throw in an extra question. This is coming from the brain. Y'all have not prepared. I'm going to switch to speaker view for this one. All right, so I'm going to mute everybody.
Oh no.
And we're going to go one by one. All right. The question, and I'm going to pick you randomly. So think on your feet, boys. If we have a National Football League season in 2020, who is your Super Bowl champion? Kai.
Oh man, I gotta go Chiefs again. That team is insane. I feel like they're gonna go back to back.
Clay.
I absolutely hate to say this, but I think I'm going to say the Ravens. The Ravens, I mean, they're loaded. Their defense is loaded. I mean, they have Earl Thomas, they have Lamar Jackson now on offense from last year. They stole J.K. Dobbins in the draft. I mean, they have Mark Ingram, they have Hollywood, wide receiver. And as a Steelers fan, I hate to say it, but I think the Ravens did really well in the draft, and they already had a really good team last year. I think they just had a fluke in the playoffs, and they just got DJ Fluker today to bolster their offensive line even more. And I think the Ravens they're going to be a huge contender this year.
But you didn't think they won the draft.
No, I didn't. I don't think they won the draft, but from the pieces that they had last year and the pieces that they added this year in the draft, I think their team I think they're going to walk away with the AFC North, and I think they're going to take over the Chiefs this year. I hate to say it, but I think it's true.
I saw a couple of articles talking about the Ravens winning the draft, so that's why I wanted to ask that. All right, so we've got Ravens, we've got Chiefs. Mechelin, your turn.
I wish I had a hotter take put together for this, but I think the Niners probably.
I like to hear that, bro.
Their team's still pretty intact. They made some good replacements and pickups. I'm with Kai, who was talking about it. I really like the Ayuk pick. Shanahan can't make the mistake of not running the ball 3 times in a row, in my opinion. So
you had to bring it up.
Yeah.
Had to bring it up.
I did.
We'll move on. Taco.
Well, Kyle stole my thunder. I was going to say 49ers also for the exact same reasons. Whatever replacements they needed to make, they made them. They did lose a really good defensive tackle, but they drafted one that has a really high ceiling. I think it's going to fill in pretty well. And pretty much everything that Kyle Michelin says, what I was thinking.
I'm sticking with my Niners. Hopefully they can win it. Kyle Shanahan can get them back there and not botch it up again. They didn't really lose too many pieces that they didn't fill in the draft, and I think they're in pretty good shape. So, gentlemen, unless you've got some more comments, I'm not hearing anything.
I'm just questioning the 49ers for a second.
Yep.
I mean, you even think, with the Buccaneers coming in with a
I'm not
talent
worried
that
about
they
Tampa.
have. Yeah, I mean, and then losing Breida and then losing, was it Chris or Marquise Goodwin? I mean, you don't think
I'm
that
not
they
worried about
and
Bucks.
then they lost to Forrest Buckner. I think those are some three big
They-
pieces that.
They replaced that with Kinlaw, though. Sorry, was it
Well,
Kinlaw?
we'll
but-
see, right?
But you're
We'll
taking
see.
college
Yeah.
talent and trying to fill in those voids. I mean, it might take a year or two. I just don't. Those are big holes to fill that I just have questions about it. And I don't know why the 49ers went into sell mode with, Goodwin and Breida. Just kind of confusing. I guess they don't want to run the ball.
Yeah.
I think my
They
My
avoid
overall-
doing that, don't they? Any Kyle Shanahan team avoids running the football.
my overall sleeper pick is, I mean, it's a home pick, but it's the Colts. I don't see many weaknesses on this team. They have
Straight
good
up
run.
homer.
I'm sorry, but I mean, logistically, they have really good running game. They have a great offensive line. Their defense has stepped up tremendously in the last few years. And yeah, Philip Rivers is old, but I think he has kind of a win now mode, and he wants to prove to everyone that he can actually make that step. And then if Philip Rivers doesn't pan out, you have Jacoby that at least knows the system. If they just get consistent play at that position, rather than going 5-2, beating two of the best teams in the NFL, then just sucking the rest of the year, I think they can really make a run. I think they're good.
They gotta be able to finish the season first.
I know that's what I'm saying. If
Yeah.
they can consistent play. Just I don't care if you're great every game. Just be good enough. Just win.
What's good enough is the question.
Whatever gives them more points than the other team.
I think the AFC is pretty
Hot
wide
take.
open this year.
The sirens and the lights are going off right now. Hot take.
I mean, I think a team coming out of the AFC is pretty wide open. I mean, there's a lot of talented teams in the AFC. I mean, you have the Colts, you have
Chiefs.
we have the Chiefs, we have the Ravens.
Buccaneers.
I mean, honestly, the Titans.
That's
I mean,
NFC.
the
Sorry.
Titans
Sorry.
with Henry.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a consistent quarterback at the Titans now, and they've got Derrick Henry. I mean,
I mean,
I know that's a tough one. It's a tough one. It's a
Yeah.
tough pick. But now I guess the question, it begs the final question, and that's, are we going to have season?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
There's no
but
way that we
shortened.
don't.
Yes, but shortened. What about fans?
Every other
Half-
seat.
Yeah, half capacity.
It's not 6 feet, so it'd be every third seat.
Probably just the high payers, the big dollar. You're
So we're just going to fill the lower bowl
very much.
in the suites, where
I mean,
they
I think-
practice no social distancing.
I mean, I think you see the base. I mean, MLB just came out today and said they're going on with the season. They're not. I think they said around July 4th they're going to try to start. So I mean,
So they're going to shorten it.
if baseball's they're gonna like divide their teams into 10 team divisions, and then they're gonna have an expanded playoff system, and then so I think if baseball's planning it so soon to have a season, I think by the time the NFL comes around, they might cut out preseason just to give it an extra four weeks, but I think you're definitely going to see a season in some kind of aspect.
Well, you saw the NBA announce that they were going to open practice facilities May 1, and then they
Yeah, and then
bounced
you
it
have-
back to May 8.
Some teams backlash.
So you think it's going to be a week by week basis when we get into June, July, August? What do you think?
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's also a ways away still. I mean, it doesn't seem like it, but I still think that's what, eight weeks away from, June, July, 12 weeks, something like that. And I mean, you have no idea what this virus is going to do tomorrow. I mean, it's not going to go away, but it could, you just never know what's going to happen tomorrow with this virus and everything that's happening.
Excellent take. That's a right hand button right there. Yeah, excellent.
I
take
think
on that.
once they start the season, they either have to finish it fully, or if they have to stop it due to the virus, I think they just go ahead and cancel it, because it wouldn't be fair to the players and teams to get in that mode of getting in season mode where you're that focused, that prepared, then saying, "Oh, sorry, we're going to pause again." Then now they're back into waiting and doing just a small training. It just wouldn't be fair not to be able to do that. But some states are different. Like Illinois might open tomorrow, then Indiana might open a week later. So that's a week difference, which could be huge. So I think if they start it, they start and go all the way through. If they have to stop it, they end up canceling.
And that even if there is no fans, people are going to watch on TV. I mean, you saw 55 million people watch the NFL draft, and that's never happened. So, people are going to, even if they don't like the NFL, it's something new on TV because they're tired of, the news just blowing in their head, coronavirus, and all the reality TV. And I think even if there is no fans, the NFL they're still going to do very well for TV ratings.
They could do what they're doing overseas and have robot fans or like the cardboard cutout.
Where you pay to have your face in the seat.
Yeah, there you go.
You didn't see that? The soccer club that had their fans pay for cardboard cutout of them in the seats?
Or put like
it's not that I didn't see it. It's not that I didn't see it. It's that I don't care.
So there's a few
about it.
things. There's a few things in the chat that I've noticed. One, Bailey's talking to you, Sherman. He says, "Fool me once, shame on you."
I know. I read it.
On me. Fool me 3 times.
Shanahan will never win a Super Bowl. Yeah, I know. Shut up, Bailey.
And then Evan says, "Give me the Titans as a dark horse," which you mentioned.
Yeah.
And then Bailey was also like, if the season is canceled, how will teams handle contracts?
It's a great question. It's a great question. And you know what? I don't think you can even predict how you can handle that until after it happens.
That's gonna be for my legal team.
Yeah, having an understanding of legal procedure, that's not something I think you can prep for. I think you have to. I think you have to attack it because it's going to be something with the Players Association. It's going to be contracts with agents. It's going to be there are all kinds of elements involved there. And that might be a great question for Jay Jones, right? Great question, right? The one who's a lawyer, right? I wish I was a lawyer, but how that works. So.
And then I also saw something up in the chat. This kind of goes towards Taco as a Colts fan.
No.
How do you feel about Eason?
I think he has a good upside. I definitely going to be sitting for 2 years at least. I don't care who he sits behind, but he needs to sit for a little bit. And I think I read where they're kind of concerned about his maturity level.
Yeah.
So once you're in NFL, you're dealing with some men you're playing for their money pretty much, and they're not going to joke around. So, we can see Chad Kelly somewhat kind of get matured on the Colts team.
I was a big proponent of Chad Kelly. Just FYI, I saw him in preseason. I was a big proponent of him. Obviously, no one listened.
Yeah, I saw in the draft that there was like 5 character issues with Eason, and teams didn't want to deal with him, and they said if he doesn't become professional, Ballard's going to move on pretty quickly from him. So.
And Ballard, we trust. Whatever that guy does, I will support him.
I just want to add this about Eason too. I mean, coming out of high school, he was like one of the top-rated quarterbacks, or he was the top-rated quarterback in the country, and he did go to a really good program in Georgia. I feel like spending a 4th rounder isn't the worst for him. I mean, he has the tools for it, and I feel like going to a town like Indianapolis or a city like Indianapolis. I mean, it's not like going to an LA. It's not like going to a Chicago. I feel like it is a good city to grow because I just feel like you don't have as many distractions as if you would with.
You think the Colts fan base can be that patient though?
I mean, you have Rivers, you have Brissett. You're not expecting Eason to. I mean, people don't even know if Eason's ready to be, grooming to be the starter yet. I mean, it's just a trial period. He's a project. So
us Colts fans have been spoiled in the last 20 years with Peyton Manning getting drafted in '98 and staying until 2009, and then we got Andrew Luck for a few good years until he left us last year. Colts fans, and I've seen it, and I was there when Andrew Luck retired. I could just see the pain in their eyes. We want that Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck quarterback coming right now. And if like Jacoby Brissett, he struggled for a year, then last year he was decent, and then everyone's already like, all right, get rid of him, we're done. He's awful. It's just we don't have any patience at that quarterback because we're spoiled.
I think he's going to mature because Phillip Rivers is there, and he's got 11 kids, and I think he can handle a 12.
He can. That's true.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Yeah. All right. At that. So yeah, I didn't expect it to go that far. But gentlemen, any final statements to come from you as we head into no man's land? Semester coming to a close, right? SMC, Kyle graduating, Taco gonna get a job, Clay remaining president. That was loud and totally threw me off my game. Clay, the returning president, and Kai going to be leading the podcast. The new name will be what for the podcast?
Full Court Press.
So the SMC podcast will now turn into Full Court Press with a logo and everything. So we're on, man. It's on. It's going to be video for a while. Am I right, Kai? And then it's going to probably bounce into some audio, maybe do some video as we go.
Yeah, I mean, during summer and during this quarantine and all that, we're going to mess around with similar to Zoom live streaming, seeing if we like the video with it and the audio. And then once we get back to school, we'll figure out our setup. But we're just trying everything out right now.
How about during these final moments, if anybody wants to comment in the chat about maybe what they want to see, hear, or whatever, throw some thoughts in there, right? Kyle, any final words as the president, both outgoing and incoming?
Oh, well, I mean, just finish the semester strong. I mean, it's been tough the last few weeks, transitioning to online, and hopefully, this was a little break from that with the NFL draft, and got to give credit to the WNBA draft, and hopefully we can do another one of these for the NBA draft. We could also come back for the MLB draft and see the Orioles get 1,000 times better with the number 2 pick. There's lots of options that we can do with this, and I think
there's no way that's going to ever happen.
MLB draft is.
I'm not talking about the MLB draft. I'm talking about the Orioles getting better.
Whoa. But I mean, for Kai, I think the podcast, I think a view like this kind of helps the viewers too. Instead of just listening to audio, it kind of gives them, a visual, since they can't be there. A lot of people are visual learners now, so I think they would like this better. It feels like they're interacting when they're not. Evan just said live stream sports trivia night with host Dr. Sherman, and
I'm all about that.
And a messed up Kahoot from Kyle.
Always. The Kahoots will always be messed up by Kyle. No, I would love to do sports trivia. I would enjoy that. I would love to as far as I know, we can get up to 300 people on here. So, I mean, I would love to.
Oh my God.
I'd love to open it up, throw
man.
some trivia in there. Oh yeah, man. And absolutely see people on video explode like they do in the group me. Oh yeah.
Dumpster
Every
fire
time.
on Zoom.
Dumpster fires erupt in the group me when I throw a trivia question out there for Pacers tickets, and all of a sudden no one can seem to get all the pieces right, and it always ends up being screwed up, and I got to ask a separate question.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And I mean, as a like with the new board coming in me, I kind of want to find new ways to, involve the club, since we can't be on campus for meetings, and a lot of them have gone home. So if anybody has ideas, shoot them our way. I mean, if we want to get on Zoom and, have like a virtual meeting and hang out, I mean,
heck yeah, man. I'm in to help out.
Let's
However.
do it. I just don't know, because I mean, none of us have ever been in a situation like this before. So it's kind of hard to think on the fly of how to interact with people, because I don't want it to feel like, since school is not on campus, that we can't be a club, because that's not how it should be. I want to feel like the club is still going on when we're not on campus, even through the summer. I mean, I know hopefully most of us are busy with sports during the summer, but if there's ways to interact as a club still, I'd love
no
to
decisions, and I know this for a fact, no decisions have been made yet on the fall. So
yeah,
I know that for a fact. Had a faculty town hall today. No decisions have been made. So
Yeah.
Once the decisions have been made, you'll know. And when they are, you might be excited that you're coming back to the classroom. You might not be, because you're staying home. I don't know. Well, we'll see. But in reality, we can keep doing all of this stuff, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this. I've had fun with these 3 shows, and I think that we can do more of this. We can have meetings. We can do these type of interactive stuff. We can do live streams. We can do, you guys pick it, hit me up. I'm good. I will.
I mean, I really just want like the members to pick too. I don't want to pick.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't want to
talking
pick
about
everything.
everybody.
I mean, because it's about
I'm
them.
throwing
And
it
not,
out. I'm throwing it
Yeah.
out to the entire membership. If
Yeah.
drop a line, if you got an idea, maybe we could
Yeah.
do something.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to, obviously if we want to stream anything, I mean, I probably would have to be the facilitator of that, but at the same time, I'm fine with it. I can be the facilitator and sit there and just say nothing.
Can you just look at the comments on YouTube?
Trey Brown, we can definitely pull that off without any question.
But I think it really just is the members giving us ideas, and hopefully they want to be as involved with SMC through this odd time that I do. Even the people graduating, Kyle, Taco, I hope they stick around and
alums, man, we could
Yeah.
send it out to alums. Yeah, Trey, that was a shout to you. We could send it out to alums, and they can be part of it.
Yeah.
Anything we can do. It's just a fun time. We got an opportunity to do some different things and be a little bit innovative, and that's what we're trying to do with our program. So it parallels exactly what we're trying to do in sports management at IUPUI, and this club is a means for that. And I'm hoping that maybe we can get there. So,
Yeah.
Final thoughts, Kai?
Everybody stay healthy, honestly. We'll get through it.
Taco?
Yeah, stay healthy. If you know any full-time sports jobs, let me know. I'm looking.
They're all
And
on a hiring freeze.
I know, but if you know anyone's coming up or just anything.
Twitch is
in general,
hiring. Twitch is hiring.
I'm gonna be a streamer, so watch me on Fortnite doing Kyle's death runs.
We're gonna watch him on Rocket League.
Watch me on Rocket League getting exploded by Kyle because he wants to score every single time.
Kyle
That is not
Mechlin,
true.
my guy that stayed quiet most of this time. What you got?
I've got a few things. One, Eagles had a good draft. Two, keep fighting through the semester. You're almost there, especially for my people in Capstone right now. I know this has probably been a pretty tough avenue to try to get that design thinking working and really solve it, but you guys are going to do great. Keep up the good work. Can't believe I'm graduating and that it's already been 2 years since I transferred here. Thanks to everyone for
Hold on a second.
helping make this an awesome experience for me. And lastly, and most importantly, if you play Animal Crossing and you have pairs, let me know.
What? Wow. He drops the mic with Animal Crossing, right? What is Taco doing? I just want to stay here in silence and see what Taco's doing here.
Just wanted to say keep working hard and hopefully you get one of these soon.
Oh,
There it
showing
is,
off the
nice and
diploma.
framed.
How about that? Showing off the diploma.
It sucks not having a graduation, but I can say I'm still proud of this. Worked my butt off for it. So everyone else still working towards it. Kyle, you'll get yours really soon. Just
Hopefully.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Just keep working hard and you'll get one of these bad boys.
See, y'all keep working hard. You're going to get one. My last words are stay up, stay positive. We're all in this together. We're all supporting each other. I've mentioned all along that my mental health's taken a hit. I'm sure many of you has taken a hit too. Don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out to me or somebody else, right? As Kyle coughs his way through this whole statement. Finish strong, stay focused, get it done. Try to enjoy the summer as much as you can. Keep your eye on the news, keep your eye on IUPUI news. That way we know we want you to come back and finish this thing, man. All of you, I'm excited for the way the trajectory our program's going. I think that that people want to be more engaged with it, and I think we can get somewhere really, really fast in this town. And don't forget, 2021 Final Four still on, gang. We're hosting that bad boy, and it's going to be an epic event, and I can't wait to get our students involved in it. And I'm hoping that we get back to the classroom soon, even if we are only half of the normal number. I don't know, but whatever happens is supposed to happen, and that's the way it is. So SMC love, nothing but it. So gentlemen, we are going to sign off from the NFL draft post wrap-up show, and we will see you all on the flip side very soon. And I'm sure I'll be playing Rocket League with some people. We'll see.
That's right.
But you all have a great night. Thanks for tuning in to the SMC post draft show.